All right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to our webinar on creating custom development plans for your users. I'm Rachel Graves, and this is my colleague, Brian Saporito. We are the customer success team here at MLC CAD, and we are the ones that will help you create these development plans for your users. So one of the ways that we do that is using the SolidProfessor platform and utilizing groups within the SolidProfessor platform. You can use these in an infinite number of ways, but there's a couple main scenarios that we use them in that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to go through two, Brian's going to go through two, and then at the end we'll talk a little bit about what the other options are as well as how to get started with us. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera off so that you don't have to watch me building these groups, but then at the end we'll come back on and discuss at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. The first scenario that I'm going to talk about is using what we call the skills analyzer to send out a test to your team. It's a quick test, and we can use that as a metric for what kind of groups we need to create for your team. So the way we do that is we log in. This is our dashboard. We go here to take the skills analyzer test, and then you'll see two options here. For this example, we're going to choose Test My Team. Then we pick a level. So there's a basic, an advanced, and an expert level. For this example, I'm going to use the basic. We select the test. You put in your information. It should load most of this for you automatically. And then we name the test. So for this, I'm going to use SolidWorks Basics. You hit Next. Make sure you have the right one and hit finish. So when you do that, you're going to see two things here. This link is the one that you would send out to any of your team members that you want to have take the test. Now, these tests are short. They're 24, 25 questions long, multiple choice. They take 10, 15 minutes to complete, not too long. So it's a quick way to get your bearings and to figure out where your team is and where you can improve. The other link you'll see here is your results dashboard. So when you go to your results dashboard, you can see a couple things. You'll be able to see the number of responses that you get, as well as the average score. It'll break it down by section, and then you can also see all the participant scores and their results. So I have an example of one that I sent out to the MLC team that I'm going to show you. So a filled out results dashboard will look like this. This is the one we did as a test run. So we have great AEs here at MLC, so they did obviously very, very well. But I can see what everybody's score was, how long it took them to take it, when they took it, and then their name here. So using this example, obviously these guys are all great, but the lowest scoring category was drawings. So if this were my team and I wanted everybody to get 100%, on drawings, and it was important to our use case, I would create a group built around drawings. So there's a couple ways to create groups. I'm going to come back to my dashboard here. You have to be a manager to create a group. So if you don't have that permission type and you need to get into creating groups, contact us and we can always change your permission type. What we're going to do is go in here to create group, and you'll see a couple options here. I wouldn't worry about make a copy. So duplicating an existing group tends to be for educational institutions. That's not one you're going to use often. Usually you're going to choose between start from scratch or use a lesson plan. The difference between these two is that use a lesson plan is a way to assign any single course from your main course page. If you want to combine lessons from multiple courses, you have to go the start from scratch route. It's not too much more difficult. It's a couple extra button clicks. I'll show you one example that start from scratch. But for this one, because it's a single course that I'm going to use a lesson plan. I'm going to name it. So it's going to be drawings. A group code's like a password. I could put one on there if I wanted to, but I don't need to now. Hit next. Pick your subject. So I can create all kinds of different groups in here, but I'm going to go with SolidWorks. And then it will show me my SolidWorks course page. So I can assign any one of these courses. And if I want to filter for a version, I can do that here as well. But I'm going to scroll down here a little bit until we see our drawings course. Now, when I go to assign this, if I want to check through, these I can drill down on and see every lesson, guided exercise, and practice exercise so that I know exactly what's going to be covered in my group. Once I feel that that's a good fit, there's going to be a couple questions here on this side. So the first one is status. Published means your learners can join on their own, so it'll show up on all of your team's groups tab. That's usually what I pick, and that's what I'm going to pick here. But if you want to have a private group that you have to manually add users to, you can choose unpublished. So I'm going to pick published here. I'm not going to limit my number of test attempts, but you can. The copy settings, I wouldn't worry about because I'm not going to be making duplicates of this group. And then the video player settings just keep people from being able to skip through the lessons without actually watching them. So again, usually for students, so I'll leave that off. I am going to include a baseline test, and I always include a baseline test. And the reason for that is it gives me as the manager a nice before and after picture. And I think it also gives the user some satisfaction in seeing what they're getting out of this coursework. I'm not going to put a testing timer on mine, but I could. And then I'll hit complete lesson plan. And the nice thing is that it will ask if it wants to save these as the default group settings, so I don't have to pick them every time. These are what I usually select, so I will hit save settings. Now I can see my group. And I can go up here to the groups tab. So if you were a learner being told to join the drawings group, you can go up here to the groups tab. There's drawings, and it's as easy as clicking it and moving through that content for users. The other thing I can do as a manager is go here to the three dots, hit manage learners. And if I want to manually add a user in there, I'm going to go to add existing, and I'm going to add Brian. I'm also going to send him an assignment notification email so that he knows he's in this group with this coursework that I want him to complete. Hit submit, and there he is. So on this tab, I can see their progress, and I can also see their test results, the most recent over the group average. Only managers can see this. And then managers can also see the reporting tab where I can go and see the cumulative stats for my organization, but I can also go to the group I just created. I can see who's in it. I can see their overall progress, their progress through each assignment. I can view this by different types of test scores. And I can also export the whole thing as an Excel or a CSV file. So lots of different ways to track this. And the beauty of a group is the ability to track, because I can tell people to go in and take the drawings course, but then I have to individually check where each person is. Whereas if I create a group, I can see it all clearly here on my reporting tab. Now, the second common scenario that I want to talk about here before I hand it over to Brian is doing an update. So whenever you update your SolidWorks or your Mastercam or your PDM, for example, I do recommend creating an update training group for your users. So I'm going to use an example of a team upgrading from SolidWorks 23 to 25, and then they're also upgrading their PDM. A PDM upgrade is something that MLC can help you with. So that's one thing that we could do for you as a service project. And my elite users, you guys can use your services discount on that upgrade. And when you do that, things might look a little bit different. Your version might look a little bit different. But what SolidProfessor has is update trainings for both of those software so that I can get my team up to speed on the things that may look different or the new features that they have access to. So for this one, I'm going to create a custom group. So I'll go to create group. I'm going to choose start from scratch. So for this one, I'm going to do SolidWorks and PDM upgrade. I'm going to keep the status the same. You can put a supervisor and things like that in here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it the same and do save and add assignments. For my first assignment, I'm going to do the SolidWorks upgrade. I can choose a date that's available. I'm just going to choose today. I can choose a due date if I'd like to, but I'm not going to put that on there. And then we hit save and add lessons. So when we create a custom group, like I said, it's a little bit more complicated. So this is something that we can do for you, but I will walk you through it. So for the course type, we're going to pick courses. For the software, we're going to pick SolidWorks. And for the version, we're going to pick 25 and earlier. And then we're going to go through here until we find our update training. And since we're going from 23 to 25, I'm actually going to choose to include both of these. Now, if there were lessons, you can drill down here. If there were parts I wanted to skip, like if we weren't really involved with sheet metal, I could unclick that box and leave that out. So keep that in mind as an option. But for me, I'm going to leave everything in there. Then I'm going to hit update assignment. And my first assignment is complete. Now, I also want to add some lessons on the new PDM version. So I'm going to go back to my assignments tab. I'm going to add a second assignment, and this one is going to be PDM upgrade training. Save and add again. I'm going to pick a course. I'm going to pick SolidWorks and 2025. And then we're going to go to our PDM coursework. Let's say for this example, this company has PDM Pro. So there's not a 24 version, which usually if it skips a version, it just means the commands for that particular product didn't change between those versions, but there is a new 25 release. So I want my users to have that new information. Again, I can drill down, see what it includes, but for me, I'm going to include the whole thing. I'll hit update assignment. And then we're good to go. So everything will have a baseline test like I selected in my default options. And then if I go to my group tab here, you will see the SolidWorks and PDM upgrade group, just like my drawings. And I can do the same thing where I can go to the reporting tab and I can look at where my users are in the coursework I've assigned. Those are my two examples. Like I said, infinite ways you can use this, but I'm going to hand it over to Brian to share his screen and talk about a couple examples that he goes through with his users.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate that information there. And I'm going to be going over these other two common examples that we often find when we create some custom learning paths for some customers that we work with. So the first one I'm going to go over is a classic new hire scenario. I'm going to go over, for this example, a Mastercam. Let's say the shop is hiring a new programmer. The new programmer that they're hiring, very green when it comes to the Mastercam tools that they're using in the shop. Let's say for this specific shop, really they're only using some Mastercam mill tools. So we're going to create a custom development plan for them so they can go through it before they get into the shop so they can hit the ground running. So just like Rachel did, I'm going to start with create group right here. That'll take us to the group page. And like I said, we're going to do a start from scratch because we're going to add a few different assignments from a few different courses here. So let's do start from scratch. And let's name this Mastercam new hire. Let's do new hire onboarding. Just like Rachel said, published is perfect. This just allows all your users to be able to join. Again, we'll keep the unlimited test attempts. And if you want to add any other descriptions for anything down here. And I also agree with Rachel, the baseline tests are perfect to be able to see the growth as users work through these assignments. So let's save and add the assignments here. I'm going to hit Save Settings. And now let's start to add our first assignment here. So for this specific assignment, we're going to do an intro to Mastercam for them to start. And unlike Rachel, I'm going to add a due date. Let's say that this new hire starts at the beginning of November. So I want them to complete all of these before they start. So the end of October. So let's save and add lessons here. Now we're taken to this page where we're able to add the assignment that we're looking for. We're going to go to course types, then we're going to go to software, down to Mastercam right here. And a fun thing that I always like to say is all of these are in alphabetical order because there are a lot of courses here. So it can be kind of maddening if you're just scrolling through looking for the course that you're finding. So Intro to Mastercam, we're going to hit this. You see the 2024, this is perfect. We'll hit this right here. And again, just like Rachel said, we're able to drill down a little bit different. Now, I had mentioned here that the mill tools are pretty much all this shop is using in this example. So we don't need to add any lathe tools here. We also need to add any router as well. So these three courses, these three assignments in this course are perfect. So let's hit update assignment here. And now this is going to get successfully added. Awesome. Little preview, baseline test into the assignments. I want to add one more here. Let's go to the add assignment. And for this one, obviously, learning to use the Mastercam tool is great. You also need to learn how to manage the files that you create. So let's do file management. Again, I want to actually have a due date on this one. I have a due date of the end of October. Save and add lessons. And the same thing, course type. We want courses. Mastercam for the software. And again, all of these are in alphabetical order. So we want the M's. Mastercam file management. We'll hit this 2024, perfect. We'll drill down, take a look at everything that's within it. We want all of these things. Hit update assignment. Take a look at the preview. Baseline test is there. Due date assignment is there. Now this is created. We can see if we go back to the assignments, we see the two assignments that we have made, Intro to Mastercam and File Management. Now, just like Rachel had mentioned prior, we are able, if you go back to the groups, this is now here and users are able to join. We're also, again, able to add users into this as well if we want to. Perfect. So that's one scenario that we commonly deal with. Another one, and which is the final one, is adding a company adding a new product into to their engineers. So for this example, we're going to say that a company is implementing a new tool, and that new tool is Simulation Standard. So our goal in creating this group is to make sure that before the new tool is implemented, that our users have a full training and understanding of this tool. So again, they can hit the ground running and be as efficient as possible. So like I said, we're going to do the Simulation Standard. We're going to do the same thing. Let's create a custom development plan for our engineers. We're going to go to the start from scratch. We're going to create this new group. Let's go SolidWorks Simulation Standard. We're going to go publish unlimited. You see all of these settings were saved because we saved them when that pop-up came up. Now let's save and add. Now for this specific one that I'm going to create, I'm going to actually start with something that's outside of SolidWorks. So let's do some general engineering theory. So we're going to go an intro to FEA. So I'm going to create this. We're not going to have a due date on this one. We'll hit save and add lessons. So obviously within SolidProfessor, there's a lot of lot of software and courses on different CAD and CAM systems. What there also is just some courses on general engineering theory as well. We have GD&T up here, and then the one that we're looking for is finite element analysis. This is strictly, you can see when we actually click into Intro to FEA, it's versionless because we're not talking about SolidWorks. We're talking about actual finite element analysis here. So we're going to click on this. Again, if we want to drill down, this will give us an exact amount of the assignments here. We want all of these, including the case studies. Let's hit Update Assignment, and let's get this added in. Give us a little preview of everything. Baseline assignment is in there. Let's add the rest of these. Next assignment we want is we actually want the course that applies to the tool that we're adding to our arsenal here. Let's go SolidWorks. I almost forgot how to spell there. Simulation standard. Let's hit save and add lessons. And again, let's go courses, software for this one. Now we want SolidWorks. And again, all of these things are in alphabetical order. So SolidWorks here, we want SS for simulation, and then for standard, right here, simulation standard, this is what we want. We're going to click into this. This brings up the different versions here. For simulation standard, no big changes have been made in the functionalities of it since 2023. This is the most up to date. So let's hit 2023 here. Again, you can drill down, dig deep on exactly what you're going to be going over. We want all of these things since this is a new tool. We want all of them. Let's hit Update Assignment. Make sure this preview looks good. Baseline, perfect. And let's go in to add one more assignment in here that is very important. As our users are learning this new tool, they're obviously going to come across some errors as they're working through. A great course that SolidProfessor has for this is troubleshooting. So troubleshooting SolidWorks simulation standard. Save and add lesson. Course, SolidWorks. Again, alphabetical order here. We want T's, troubleshooting, SolidWorks simulation here. And now we're able to do this. For this one, we're actually running in 2025, so we'll take this one. Again, you can go through the different models here. We'll hit Update Assignment. Now we'll get a preview, and then we'll take a look at the actual path that our users are going to take. Baseline test is there. Now let's go to the assignments. When you actually look from a bird's eye view at this development plan that we created, we have an intro to FEA. Our users are actually going to be learning the fundamentals of finite element analysis. We're taking out the software. They then go to the software that we're implementing, which is the simulation standard, and then we're teaching them troubleshooting techniques for when they eventually do make an error. How are we best to troubleshoot what we have? And then that's ready to go. Again, if you go to groups, all of these new groups and development plans are there and ready to join. We're able to add those users there. We're able to report on all of these and export them out if we need to. So you're able to track the progress, make sure everyone is doing the assignments that they need to in order to make sure that they're best prepared for when they first start a new job, or if they're best prepared to start when the new tool that is there is implemented. So all in all, those are 4 common scenarios that we have when it comes to development plans. Now, we kept this very short today. There is an abundance of different ways and scenarios for how your team can utilize these custom groups, the skills analyzer test, and able to make sure that you're utilizing it. As your customer success team, we are able to help you create different development plans for your own specific scenarios. Some may be having a new hire come in or those updates for the software. Some may be very specific to you guys. We know that you guys have 26 different things on your plate at all times. So let us take some of those things off, and we're able to fully design, like we just showed, professional development for your engineers. And that's only the start of what SolidProfessor can do. Our
And,
contact,
sorry to interrupt you, Brian, but one thing also note is a lot of what you just watched, especially going through creating those custom groups, probably looked a little bit complicated and overwhelming because you have to know what's available in the library to really take full advantage and to do it efficiently. And that's another thing Brian and I are here for. Brian and I know these libraries backwards and forwards, and we can help you do this. You don't have to do it on your own. So don't look at that and get overwhelmed by all the options. Let us help.